Alright, so I thought I'd make a quick video today. I've had 2 days of, well, 3 days of snow this week for no school. Tomorrow is also canceled, so I'm getting a little stir crazy. But let's make a video. I might make one tomorrow too, I don't know. So what I thought I'd talk about today is the what-if analysis functionality of Excel. I think it'd be a pretty fun one to actually use in a real-world scenario. It's kind of a made-up one like I'm showing here, but it's similar. So this one I just want to talk about. Suppose you had 30 head of sows and you average 10 pigs per litter. That is on average. And the price per head for feeders, let's say they're $80 a head right now. So then the total, and of course the total is just, that times that times that. You expect to have 300 babies a year, 80 bucks a piece. Voila, you're there. Now, that's pretty easy to do. And you're like, well, that's thrilling, Jay. Nice job. Well, let's get crazy. So click on Scenario Manager. And I'm just going to go through and reconfigure these guys. So this is what it looks like when you first pop it up. If you click on Add, you can type in different scenario names. Now, there's no reason why. I mean, you could do best case, worst case. You could do best, most likely, worst. You could do like 82 different. There's really no limit to how many different ones you could choose. So I'm going to do most likely. So if I had 30 head, I could probably average 10 pretty easily. That's what we always did when I was a kid. We averaged 10.6, I think. But anyway, whatever. What's going to change in this scenario is the number of pigs per litter and the price per head. Okay, so I'm just going to click and highlight those two. Now I click OK, and I'm going to leave these at 10 and 80 because 80 for feeders around here is kind of low part of average. That's just what it is right now. It's kind of ridiculous. Now, let's do, did I say most likely? Well, let's do best then. Best case scenario. Don't change that thing right there. Just come down here and actually change the values. So best case, I probably don't average 12. Do 11.3. By the way, that's not a problem for the Excel. It just, it does math, and there you go. Oh, shoot. I'm going to add one more. And I'm just going to go worst case scenario. In worst case scenario, I have fewer pigs, so let's say I only average 9, maybe I only get $65 a head for them. Alright, hit OK. And now you can click on Summary here, where you can actually hit Show. And then you can change which one. So worst case scenario, I make 17.5. That's gross, obviously. Best case, 33,000, and most likely is 24,000. Now, that's all well and good. Again, that's just a gross. The next one I'm going to do is going to have some expenses. Again, things like fuel expenses and depending on how you want to do some other stuff, I don't know, like labor, I don't have that information to throw into this. But that wouldn't be hard to do either. So on the next page, I actually have a kind of a setup for that one as well. If you click on Summary, notice I highlighted the whole table. So I want to make a summary of that whole thing. And I want a scenario summary right here. Voila. So here it is. What I've got here is this. So the current values, if I'm getting $10, I mean, you can go in here right here. What is that B3? B3 was the number of pigs per litter, right? It was the pigs per sow. But it already says that right here. So you don't have to change that, but you could go in there and change that all around. The idea is if you had 30 sows, which I didn't change because I'm not going to have that. But you could change that too and have, you had a sow or two, you got rid of them and cold them, whatever. Average pigs per litter, and then the total price, and then boom, down at the bottom, there are the summaries. And the kind of the cool thing about it is that when you go through and do that, then you can have these right in front of you and go, okay, you could have it written down somewhere. Because I don't know about you, but when I have stuff that I've budgeted over time, and then I come back and look at it, I'm like, I can't remember what I did here. What was I doing? And it takes me a long time to get back into it. But this is a quick way to kind of push the pencil on stuff, and then again, you can tweak it 100 different ways from Sunday. Notice I only did 3 scenarios here. But I could have left the price the same, you see what I'm saying, at $80 a head, but then bumped it up to 11 pigs per litter or bumped it down to 9 pigs a litter, and then compared different things that way. So it's not like I had to change them all. I could have left one the same. And I had 15 different scenarios across there. And I also did one for some wheat. And so here it is. I made 1,000 acres of wheat. Just made up that number off the top of my head. It's way high. This is for my worst case scenario, obviously. Chemical per acre, in terms of spraying stuff. Yield per acre, that's horrible. Now it's horrible. Now it used to be, it was closer to more like our average. We used to average about 80 probably, but whatever. And price per bushel, that's terrible right now. And so of course the total income would just be the amount of acres of wheat you have times the yield times price. Total expenses would be acres times this cost per acre plus acres times this cost per acre. Goes here, and then of course subtract it. That's easy to do. So back under the what if analysis, and again, I didn't include fuel costs, I didn't include labor, didn't include any of that, which by the way would be totally easy to throw in there if you had some good numbers that you could throw at it quickly. So I'm going to go to Scenario Manager, and I'm going to then get rid of those again. I'm just going to show you how to start this thing. So the scenario name, I'm going to go with most likely, or average maybe. And what I'm going to change is I'm going to change the costs per acre and the yield and the price per bushel, those four things. Now, the fact that I'm changing four things might lead you to believe I should have about 18 different options here. And you totally could do that. You could leave the price really low, but what if I had to put a lot more fertilizer on versus a little bit of fertilizer? Or, whatever. The what if fuel costs are abnormally high this year? And you could have a zillion different things. Why? But again, I'm just going to do three this time because that's kind of what I feel like doing. So average, maybe like 175 an acre, maybe like 100 an acre. Yield, let's bump that up to about 95, I guess now. Let's do 90. Again, you see that I hesitated. Well, 85. Well, 90. Do what you like. Change it around. Just make a bunch more of them. Today the futures price was 478 for July delivery, Portland. So I'm going to go I'm just going to go 450. That's going to be my average one. Okay. Now I'm going to do best case. Best case. Change the same variables. And best case, I'm going to spend a lot less on fertilizer, maybe. So I don't know, 150. Whatever. And a lot of residual nitrogen. Don't spray as much. Don't spray as much for wild oat cheatgrass or anything. So we're good there. Best case scenario, let's say 105 for the bushels. And let's say we actually beat the July futures price. Oh. And then worst case, I'm just going to leave the worst case the way they are currently. 210, 120, 75, and 3.5. And once I've gotten here, if I just click on show, okay, it's already on worst case. Here's best case. Best case scenario, this is what I get. Average, this is what I get. And then again, I just click on the summary, right? And I highlight this whole bit here, and I go into scenario summary, and this is what it pops out for me. Now, a person could go through and change some of this stuff to make it less annoying. Okay, there's a few things on there that are a little annoying in terms of what you're looking at. At least some of these cells, business over here is kind of hard to keep an eye on. But you can then go through here, and you could get, well, this is the part. This is the important part. So we come down here and you can highlight those deals. Make sure they stand out to you. So that's the big thing there. You could do it all different ways. You could make this bigger, spread them out a little bit so it's easier to read. Something that I find very helpful, and I don't think enough people know this about Excel, is that up here I'd really like these rows to not change. In fact, I might actually like all of those rows not to move. And if that's what I want, I can come up here to View and go to Freeze Panes, and I can freeze. Well, I could freeze. Well, here, actually, let's do this. If you click right here, it's probably a good place to do it. And then if you click on Freeze Panes right there, now when you zoom down, it keeps them across the top up there, so you can kind of see where you're at. So maybe that's helpful, maybe that's not. I think you can still read it okay. But anyway, that's kind of a nice thing, I think. So I guess the purpose of that today's video is basically to show you the what if analysis manager and the scenario manager, and To me, I think that's a pretty cool tool to be able to then come back. You can always come back to where the data was right here, and then you can go back to this what if analysis. So this is what you did in at the start of the year when you were pushing the pencil trying to figure out what your budget stuff was, because somewhere you've got all this budgeted stuff, and you put it over here and you go, okay, here it is. And then when you're sitting here penciling it out, but then like partway through the year you're watching the price drop like a rock, and you're going, oh geez. So you can come in here and you can edit them, and you can click on your average one, and you're like, well, yeah, 4.5. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Bump that down, to whatever, to $4 or whatever. And you can just okay that, and so then you've changed that scenario. You bump everybody down. Even best case, of course, is going to go down because you're looking at the market, and the market's tanking partway through the year, or partway through the year. Geez, we haven't had enough rain. The wheat's looking stressed. I'm going to have to bump my yield down a ways. Of course, I'm budgeting on this is on white wheat. But if you're doing dark northern spring, it could be a scenario where where the yield's probably going to be down, but the protein's going to be up, so you get paid more on the protein content. So just some of those things to kind of think about as you're going along. You can always go back and edit those all throughout the year. Now, if you're like me, it doesn't make you necessarily feel better throughout the year because you look at that, you're constantly looking at that going, oh, geez, now you got something else to worry about, right? But anyway, all right, let me know if you have any questions about it.